She hasn't spoken in 6 months. Dr. James Harrison stood in the sterile hospital corridor, watching his 3-year-old daughter, Bella, through the observation window. The little girl sat motionless in the pediatric wing, her blonde curls catching the afternoon light, her bright eyes vacant and distant. "Mr. Harrison." Came a gentle voice behind him. He turned to see Sarah Miller, the night shift janitor, her kind eyes filled with concern. She'd been working at Mercy General for 3 years, quietly observing the heartbreak that filled these halls. James ran his hands through his hair, exhaustion etched across his face. At 38, he was the youngest CEO in the hospital's history, but success meant nothing now. The specialists say there's nothing physically wrong with her. It's psychological trauma. Sarah nodded slowly. She'd seen Bella's file, knew about the house fire that took the child's mother 8 months ago. The little girl had been trapped in the smoke-filled room for 20 minutes before firefighters found her, unharmed but forever changed. Sometimes, Sarah began carefully, children need more than medicine to heal. James looked at her with desperate eyes. His world had crumbled when he lost his wife, Rebecca, in that terrible night. Watching Bella retreat into silence had been unbearable. He'd tried everything. Child psychologists, speech therapists, even brought in specialists from Johns Hopkins. Nothing worked. "If anyone could help her speak again," he whispered, his voice breaking. "I'd give them everything. My house, my savings, everything I own." Sarah studied the broken father before her. She'd heard similar promises from desperate families, but something in James's eyes told her he meant every word. "Let me try," she said quietly. James blinked in surprise. You're a janitor. "No offense, but I worked in pediatric care before this job," Sarah interrupted gently. "And I've been watching Bella for months. She trusts me." That evening, Sarah entered Bella's room carrying her cleaning cart as usual. But tonight was different. Hidden beneath the cleaning supplies was something special, an old, worn teddy bear that had belonged to her younger sister years ago. "Hey there, sweetie," Sarah whispered, though she knew Bella wouldn't respond. She began her cleaning routine, humming softly as she worked. After 20 minutes, she sat down beside Bella's bed and pulled out the teddy bear. "This is Bruno," she said, making the bear wave at Bella. "He's been with my family for years. He's very good at keeping secrets." For the first time in months, Bella's eyes showed a flicker of interest. Night after night, Sarah returned. She told Bruno's adventures, acted out little stories, and slowly, patiently, tried to coax Bella back into the world. She noticed small changes, how Bella would lean forward during the stories, how her fingers would reach toward Bruno when she thought no one was looking. 2 weeks into their routine, Dr. Patricia Wells, the hospital's head of pediatric psychology, discovered what was happening. "This is highly irregular," she told James in his office. "Allowing janitorial staff to provide therapy." "She's not providing therapy," James interrupted. "She's being a friend. And Bella responds to her more than anyone else." Dr. Wells frowned. "Mr. Harrison, I understand your desperation, but proper protocols have failed," James finished. Let Sarah continue. Meanwhile, Sarah was learning more about Bella's past. She discovered that Rebecca, Bella's mother, had been a kindergarten teacher who loved telling stories with different voices and characters. The house fire had started in Bella's bedroom from an old electrical outlet, while Rebecca was reading her a bedtime story. Rebecca had shielded Bella with her own body until the firefighters arrived. Understanding the connection, Sarah began incorporating elements that would remind Bella of her mother's storytelling. Different voices, animated gestures, and most importantly, the same gentle patience Rebecca had shown. One evening, 3 weeks into their friendship, something extraordinary happened. Sarah was telling Bruno a story about a little girl who lived in a magical garden when she heard the softest whisper. "Mama used to tell stories too." Sarah's heart nearly stopped. She turned slowly to see Bella sitting up, tears streaming down her small face. "Yes, sweetheart," Sarah whispered back, fighting her own tears. "Your mama loved stories very much." That night, Sarah found James in his office, still working late as always. She knocked gently on his door. "Mr. Harrison?" You might want to come to Bella's room." James rushed through the corridors, his heart pounding. When he entered Bella's room, he found his daughter sitting up in bed, holding Bruno the teddy bear. "Papa," Bella said in a small, tentative voice. Sarah says, "Mama is watching over me from heaven." James dropped to his knees beside the bed, tears flowing freely as he gathered his daughter into his arms. "Yes, sweetheart. Yes, she is." Over the following days, Bella's words came slowly at first, then in a gentle flood. She told Sarah about the scary night, about missing her mama, about being afraid to talk, because talking made everything real. A week later, James stood in the hospital parking lot with an envelope in his hands. Inside was a deed to his house, his car title, and bank account information. Everything he'd promised to give away. He found Sarah finishing her shift in the pediatric wing. "I made a promise," he said, holding out the envelope. "Everything I own is yours." Sarah looked at the envelope, then at James, and gently pushed it back toward him. "Mr. Harrison," she said with a warm smile, "I already got everything I wanted. I got to see that little girl smile again. I got to watch a father get his daughter back. That's worth more than anything money can buy." James stared at her in amazement. "But why? Why did you help us?" Sarah's eyes grew distant for a moment. 5 years ago, my little sister was in a car accident. She was in a coma for 2 months. The janitor at that hospital, an elderly woman named Ruth, would come into her room every night and read to her from children's books. She said voices of power, that love can travel through words. She paused, touching the teddy bear Bella still clutched. My sister woke up on a Tuesday night while Ruth was reading Goodnight Moon. I never forgot her kindness. Sometimes we get the chance to pass it forward. 3 months later, Bella was discharged from the hospital, chattering excitedly about starting preschool and making new friends. James had established the Sarah Miller Children's Recovery Fund at the hospital, ensuring that other families would receive the kind of compassionate care that had saved his daughter. As they walked out of Mercy General for the last time, Bella tugged on Sarah's uniform. "Miss Sarah," she said, "will you visit us?" Sarah knelt down and hugged the little girl tight. "Every Sunday, sweetheart. Every Sunday." James watched this exchange, realizing that the greatest gift wasn't the return of his daughter's voice. It was learning that sometimes the most profound healing comes not from medicine or money, but from the simple, generous heart of someone who chooses to care. In the end, Bella's voice had been restored not by expensive specialists or cutting-edge therapy, but by a young night shift janitor who understood that love, patience, and human connection were the most powerful medicine of all. The real miracle wasn't that Bella spoke again. The real miracle was that she'd found her way back to joy, one gentle story at a time.